guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm your host, Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back, y'all. Good to see you. Come on in here. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't, and get a membership if you can. Trigger warning, per usual. All right? Just me being here might trigger you. So trigger warning. Also, today we're talking about Laken Snelling, the crying cheerleader that pleads guilty in her newborn's death. How many years will she actually get? Well, we're going to talk about all that today. We've got an episode. I'm going to do a quick recap. We're going to see her pleading guilty, crying. We're going to do an analysis on Laken Snelling, the cheerleader, another mother that gives birth and doesn't do the right things. Now, mind you, this woman gave birth right down the street where there is a recovery box, or what they call a a baby safe haven box, right down the street from where she gave birth. So is that going to play a factor into the judge and the sentencing? What's going to happen with this case? Well, let's find out. If you haven't heard about this case, you should go back and take a look at my playlist. I've been covering it. If you haven't, you don't have time to go back, don't worry. We'll recap you, and then you can go back. Safe haven, yes. Thank you, Newfie. Girl, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on in with some gold coins. How's everybody doing today? You guys don't forget to hit the like as you come in or if you go out. All right, good to see you. Hello, Bree. Becky, how you doing? Mama Sage. Tara, Angel Mom of 2. All right, Mama Pearl's in the house saying hello to Deb and Newfie and Kimmy. Hello, Kimmy. How are you doing? Good to see you. Grace and Jack Stormo. Nice to have you. Kimberly and Kel. Good to see everybody. Lady for Justice, Joanne, Sultry James. Y'all are here for it. Thank you. Lolo, good to see you. Jen's a Gypsy. We don't have to do a bolo when you're here, because otherwise everyone's like, where is she? All right, Sadie's mama, big hugs to you. Shout out to you. Big hugs. We love you, and I hope you're doing well. Yeah, this is in Kentucky, guys. This is in Kentucky. Hey, Laurie, just popping in. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Kimmy, the other Kimmy, hello. Good to see you. Glad you're doing well. Hope you all are doing very well today. All right, guys, let's look at we've got a goal up today per usual, and you know the drill. Get yourself a membership, gift yourself a membership, super chat, super sticker, all that supports the channel. Let's get into it. All right, Midnight Lace, how you doing? Good to see you. Big hugs for you. Crime crew. Guys, you got to remember, tonight is Turtle Island again. All right, I will have the mods drop the link in chat later on. And I'll let you know what we're doing there. I think it's a good strategy for Turtle Island to kick the competition tonight. So I'll talk to you guys at the end of the show with links and all of that fun stuff. All right. Cause I'm getting tired of fighting the same people on that damn island. We got to get somebody off. All right. Even if it's me, we got to get somebody off. I'm getting off that damn island one way or another. All right. Robini, good to see you. Bella, how you doing? All right, you couldn't get your dad on the phone, so you shambled back in for a while. Well, keep trying, you'll get him, don't worry. All right, look, guys, this case dates back to August 27th of 2025. It's wild because today's August 25th, 2026. Not quite a year, but it's interesting when we start getting into her newborn being found deceased in a closet in a trash bag by roommates. Then Laken's arrest and charges. Later, her indictment for manslaughter. She pleads guilty in court on the 21st. And yesterday on the 24th, a lot of big articles came out about the case and sentencing of October 16th, 2026. All right, so that's perfect. If we have immunity tonight, then listen, my girl Tiff, Midnight Lace, Kimmy, Mama Pearl, Deb, all you guys, we need to kick somebody tonight. And you know who we're going to kick? We're going to kick the other J. All right. Now, normally I don't say much. I'll say on there, yeah, we have we don't see eye to eye. But bottom line is, that's my freaking arch enemy that's been trashing me for the last 2 weeks. So we're going to kick, that's our goal tonight, is to kick the other J. So I don't have to hear, which J are you talking about? Either I'm going to get kicked off or she's going to get kicked off. I'm so done with that. All right. Yet she's actually out. She's been out, Becky. Guys, today we're going to cover this in a way that gives you what happened now. And then we're going to go back with some analysis and then hop back into court to talk about what sentence she might actually get. And I hate to say this because I just talked to my mom right before this, and I was telling her, we were talking about the whole thing, and my thought on this is I don't think she's going to get even close to 13 years, but we'll see. Dolly, yes, may Dolly Parton rest in peace. Guys, she was beautiful. She was 80 years old, but she lived a beautiful life, all right? She lived a beautiful life surrounded by beautiful people, including herself, and she brought lots of joy and reading to children, right? Hundreds of thousands of children, maybe more, because of her initiative. So we don't want to forget who Dolly Parton was. Yes, she passed, but she had a wonderful life. Miley Cyrus, I loved seeing Miley with her aunt, and I think that's her aunt by blood, but she's just a beautiful woman. You guys know I'm a country fan as well, so prayers for Dolly Parton and her family. May she rest in peace. Guys, I can't say much about her life other than it seemed to be really good. So 80 years of really good life, I think that's a win. Don't you, Dolly? Oh, yes. Okay. Good to see y'all. How you doing? Yeah, I know it's sad. It is. But like when you imagine that life for 80 years that she lived beyond many of us that we could even comprehend, she lived it with a smile. All right. She was lovely. Absolutely. Hey, DJ, good to see you, buddy. Bestie, I'm heartbroken about. I grew up. I know a lot of people did. She's a legend. And I am glad that she is a legend and how she lived her life. So when we look back, we can only say good things about her, in my opinion. All right, love Dolio as well. You guys get your shout outs. All right, get your shout outs. And thank you. You guys in chat can let people know who we're going to kick tonight. If she doesn't get kicked, then I don't know, man. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. All right, here for a good time, not a long time. So let me just tell you real quick, since I have this, let me give you like 1,000-foot overview, okay? Because we are going to go into the court today to listen to it. She says she was under a lot of emotional stress and her baby came unexpectedly. And instead of helping him, in her own words, she says, I ended his life. When the judge asks how, she says, well, I deprived him of oxygen. Now, guys, well, you can see in this picture here, she's got kind of a little grin on her face as she wipes her tears. And boy, does she look the same in this video, in this image that I captured as well. Now, this is a photorealistic version, but I'm telling you right now, when you watch this 10-minute court clip, she was smirking, guys. She had a huge smirk on her face, which leads me to believe that something came to light with her and the prosecutor, and they were able to agree on something that she's still smirking about, but we don't know until October. So we'll find out. DJ member for a month. Also love Dolly Parton. All right, buddy. Have them drop your link if they would. Got to get your status. You're not in the green. So, guys, I don't feel like anything about her is genuine. Yeah, it is pretty stressful, actually. It is when people start being nasty, Kimberly. When people start being nasty, then it's like, hey, man, love you guys, but I can't be like that. I won't be like that. Yes, exactly. And guys, listen, there was a safe haven right down the street. All right. I have a TikTok of her and her boyfriend. And no, not the baby daddy, not the baby's daddy. She had another boyfriend that allegedly she hid the pregnancy from. Guys, but when I look at her pictures of cheerleading and all of those things, it just doesn't make sense. All right. So today we're going to talk about the charging documents, what happened, what she told the hospital staff, what the autopsy confirmed, what the plea deal and sentencing charges could be, all of that. Now, she was facing 13 years per recommended by the district attorney. Judge may run sentences concurrently or consecutively. If they're run at the same time, which is concurrent, then she'll get out pretty soon. She won't be in there too long if she doesn't get something like house arrest. But I have a feeling they're going to not do consecutive in this case. And, well, it's kind of a bummer. Her infant was born alive and the cause of death was asphyxia. All right. She wrapped the baby in a towel, then put the baby in a trash bag, cleaned it up, and the towels got bagged. Now, roommates heard loud noises at 4 a.m. when she was giving birth. They later found the blood-soaked towel and alerted the police. Now, Lexington Police Department of Fayette County, you guys may ask, where is that? It's in Kentucky, all right? The Lexington Police Department and the Fayette Commonwealth Attorney, Kentucky Medical Examiner, and Coroner's Office, as well as the state police forensic labs confirmed this. Okay, so she's got a recommended sentence of 10 years for the first degree, 1 year abuse of a corpse, 1 year for tampering with evidence, and a year for concealing the birth of an infant. Is that going to happen? I don't know. But guys, listen, somebody asked if she was still on bond. Yes, she is. She was on previous bond of $100,000, which is 10%, not a lot, expected to be remanded at sentencing in October. There's no written plea deal that I can speak of yet or give you, but Snelling gave birth in her bedroom. She allegedly fainted, then woke up and concealed the baby's body when she found that she rolled over the baby. But that's what she said. All right. She cleaned up bagged evidence and didn't seek medical help, and her emotional distress and her secrecy during the pregnancy is what people are challenging. That and the fact that she, well, frankly, just threw the baby away. Hey, DJ, love some green. I know. I'm going to play this clip real quick and then I'll break more things down. You know how we do around here, right? I'm just going to put this up real quick. Breaking news at the time, 4 days ago. Let's listen. It's only like a minute long. 33 seconds, actually.
A University of Kentucky student pleaded guilty in her baby's death. Laken Snelling faces a slew of charges, including first-degree manslaughter. She's accused of hiding the birth and putting the baby's body in a closet. An autopsy revealed the baby boy was born alive. Prosecutors recommended more than a decade behind bars. Snelling is scheduled to be sentenced in October. At the time of her arrest just a year ago, a judge placed her on house arrest at her parents' house in Jefferson City, Tennessee.
And this is why it's important for me to play a clip like that, okay? So you guys can understand what is going down in this case. So let's take a look at some of the pre-stuff before I read the article. I just want to show you that for those that might not know, guys, listen, this was last year. She pled in August 2025. She pleaded guilty. She pleaded guilty to she didn't back then. I'm sorry. She did now. She did days ago. She pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter for the August 2025 death of her infant son, previously entering a not guilty in April. So in April, she pleads not guilty, gets out on house arrest, and now she's singing a different story. Now we're going to talk about and see the crying emotions in the court as she faced the judge. But I don't see it as remorse. Again, she says, I was under a lot of stress. We're going to play all that. She admits in her own words specifically to depriving the baby of oxygen, then cleaning up. Again, you'll get it in her own words. She's also pled guilty to abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. She waived her rights to a trial, guys. Trial was coming. Sentencing is scheduled for October 16th. Now, prosecutors, of course, are recommending a 10-year sentence for manslaughter and 1 year for abuse of a corpse and another for tampering with evidence, and a 12-month sentence of concealing, which is 13 years, guys. Now, take a look at this. When she says she didn't know, or other people like her boyfriend says they didn't know, how could you not have known? And that's just one picture. No, she didn't finish college. No, she did not. All right. Not at all. Not at all. But, that's not even the part of it that's sad. The part of it that's sad is this girl trying to maintain that image and does everything to every extent to maintain that image that you see up there. All right. Huge, huge mistake. Again, right down the street, it was a safe haven. Let me show you this with not only her ex-boyfriend, but it's not the baby's father, guys. All right. Laken Snelling would have had to hide the pregnancy from her own boyfriend. The whole thing blows my mind, this person says. All right, there's a baby safe haven box right down the street where she gave birth at her home on a Wednesday. It was the roommate that went into the closet and made the horrific discovery. Now, this is her man. All right, this is her man at the time, which is, oh shit, damn it, nope. Okay, we can't play music. They're going to get me for that, but that's okay. Guys, come on in, hit the like button. Let's get us in the algorithm. Gift a membership, get a membership. We'll do all that stuff, all right? So that is her boyfriend at the time. Didn't notice that she was pregnant, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. But guess what, guys? This is the father. And this is who wants justice, him and his family. Now, we covered this in previous episodes. So that being said, go back to the playlist if you want to know more about Isaiah or Zay and the baby's father and the family. Go back and learn about it. But these are the people. This man, this kid, his family, and baby Snelling need justice, and they deserve it. They deserve justice, all right? If she only gets house arrest or some probation, some weird thing, that is not justice, in my opinion. But I do have a feeling that may be where it's headed. This is in Kentucky. All right, DJ Rocco, good to see you, buddy. All right, that's baby daddy, and that's Zay that had been confirmed of DNA as the baby boy's father. Now, again, the family did not want that to happen, obviously, but Laken didn't give anyone the opportunity to keep the baby, have the baby, adopt the baby, none of that. She just decided to do what she will do. Now, Zay has great family support, and both he and his parents would have stepped up and gladly raised their son or his son on their own had they been given the chance. But he wasn't. All right. He's been with his son since he's been released. He's been with his son since he's been released. He was full term. He had a head full of hair, long legs, big feet, and his dad's olive complexion. Zay had not spoke to Laken since February. She unexpectedly went no contact. So you guys can see this. He provided DNA, and this all kicked off. I know. I feel bad for him. And think about Grandma. Grandma's his mom. Grandpa is his dad. They would never have done that. This family, if you see them and you hear them and you read what they're talking about, they would have never done that. I believe that would be against all things that they believe in. All right. I'll be watching from the weeds. Can't figure out what happened on my keyboard, but it's like old school. There's where the three letters. That happens sometimes, man. Subscribe to DJ. What's up? All right. So again, if you want to go back over that, go to my playlist, and otherwise, we've got a lot for today's episode, so we should probably get into it. Let's talk about her guilty plea, and then we'll go into court and discuss possibilities and listen to some analysis, talk about the analysis. All right, today's August 25th, 2026. This is dated August 24th, 2026 at 3:53 p.m. All right, I ended his life. This Kentucky mom pleads guilty in her newborn son's death. Now, guys, a 22-year-old Lexington woman has pleaded guilty to manslaughter in connection with the 2025 death of her newborn baby on Park Avenue. All right, this is her. She looks so much different now than she did prior. It's interesting when we see her in court because it's such a stark difference. Now, she has been on bond. She's been out on bond, so she can't blame the jail food. Right. There you go. Laken Snelling, Skylar Richardson, Alexi Treviso. They all did the same type of crime, but none of them are even close to facing the same sentences. All right. If we were to sit there and break this down about what each one got, it seems to be completely unfair. All right. Now, 22 years old, and she does this. Laken Snelling entered the guilty plea on Friday, August 21st, confirming in court that her infant son was in fact born alive. Now, the plea comes nearly a year after police first launched the investigation into the child's death. Snelling addressed the court during the hearing, and she says, "I was under a lot of emotional stress, and my baby came unexpectedly." But guys, you got to remember, she didn't have any kind of prenatal anything. And she says, instead of helping him, I ended his life. And afterwards, I cleaned it up and didn't tell anyone. Now, the case began on August 22nd of 2025, about 10:30 a.m., when officers were dispatched to a home in the 400 block of Park Avenue. All right. Now, it was regarding an unresponsive infant. This was her roommate, found this in her closet, and emergency responders found the child deceased at that scene. All right. Police arrested her August 31st, 2025. And we talked about the charges: abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, concealing the birth of an infant. Following the autopsy, Kentucky Medical Examiner's Office determined the infant was born alive and died from asphyxia by undetermined means. And a Fayette County grand jury later indicted her on the March 10th, 2026, adding the charge of first-degree manslaughter. Now, guys, that's the hefty charge in this case. That's a 10-year charge that can run concurrently, meaning at the same time or consecutively. 10 years, 1 year, 2 years. The investigation was handled by Lexington Police Department, all right, the Fayette County Commonwealth Attorney's Office, and the Kentucky Medical Examiner's Office, as well as Fayette County's Coroner Office and Kentucky State Police Forensic Lab. Prosecutors have recommended a 10-year prison sentence for the manslaughter charge, alongside 3 years for the remaining charges. Snelling is scheduled to be formally sentenced on October 16th. Okay, so now I want to do, before we watch the crying cheerleader and all that, I know there's people in chat that have not been either updated on this case or saw it a long time ago. So I want to do this analysis with Dr. Grande and see where she landed when she pled not guilty. All right. She said that she was she gave a mental health defense and pled not guilty. But what changed? That's what we're going to talk about now. And then we're going to get into court, and we're going to talk, and we're going to see her crying in court with a smirk and everything else, how it pans out, and what we think. We're going to do discussions on the possible sentence. Okay. All right. Let's get to it. I don't really need I guess I could do this since you guys, let's do this.
August 27, 2025, at about 10:30 a.m., one of Laken's roommates called the police and reported that an unresponsive infant was in their residence. The infant was cold to the touch. When the police arrived, they looked in a closet of Laken's bedroom and found a black trash bag. In the bag, there was a deceased infant wrapped in a towel. Right after this, Laken arrived at the residence. The police confronted her about their discovery. Here is the story that she supplied to them. At 4 a.m. that day, Laken gave birth alone in a room. her baby fell on the floor. She did not think that he was breathing or alive. About 30 minutes later, Laken passed out and landed on top of her son. When she woke up, he was turning blue and purple. She wrapped him in a towel like a burrito and lay next to him, finding a little comfort.
And this is why I want to share the analysis with you, because when we get back into court and we see that smirk that bothers me oh so much, with her pleading and her possible tears, it gives you a different perspective on the whole entire case. No, she wasn't. She had roommates. She was in college with roommates, right? Being a cheerleader, a beauty queen. That's what they call her. Hey, Soroski, good to see you, my friend. And Mystic Artistry North, hello.
In the moment, Laken fell asleep. She woke up when her alarm went off at 7:30 a.m. At this point, she stuffed her son into a trash bag, which she had retrieved from the kitchen. She hid his body in the closet. Laken showered and used paper towels to clean up the blood in her bedroom. Laken's roommates heard noises at around 4 a.m., which lasted for about an hour. They said it sounded like something had fallen. One roommate reported that whatever caused the noises was so forceful, it knocked a picture off her wall. At 8:48 a.m., Laken responded to Snapchat messages sent by her roommates inquiring about the noises, explaining to them that she passed out because she had not eaten and was not feeling well. She was planning on seeing a physician. Laken left the residence to drive to a class which started at 9:30 a.m., although she never actually went to that class.
Now listen, guys, I don't believe by any stretch of the imagination that she didn't know she was pregnant. Don't believe it at all. All right? Not even one little bit.
Ended up going to a McDonald's and placing an order. She then drove to the student health clinic, but never went inside. While Laken was gone, her roommates entered her bedroom to locate the source of the noises. Again, they had heard these noises at 4 a.m. They had suspected that Laken was pregnant,
Look at that.
but never confirmed their suspicions.
The belly bump,
so it's not
guys.
surprising they would investigate. After entering her bedroom, they found Laken's son unresponsive in the closet. One of the roommates called the police, who arrived at 10:34 a.m. When Laken returned home, the police were waiting for her. 4 days later, on Sunday, August 31, 2025, Laken Snelling was arrested and charged with abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. She is facing up to 11 years in prison if convicted of all counts, although realistically, her sentence.
We're now looking at 13, by the way, which we're going to discuss after this. Now, this is timed perfectly. This came out 10 months ago, but it still holds weight to find out what happened, what she was thinking, and what was going on, and the details, right? About wrapping the baby up like a burrito. Those are her words. And then putting the baby in a trash bag, cleaning up, and then going to eat. Because, yeah, I'm sure you'd be hungry after giving birth to your baby. I'm sure. I'm not being dramatic. I'm not being like sarcastic or dramatic. You'd be hungry. I wouldn't be, but that I don't know how she could have just kept going. That's a big problem in my opinion as well.
This would probably be nowhere near that length. On September 2, Laken was released on a $100,000 bond and went to live with her parents in Tennessee. She is no longer a student at the University of Kentucky. The state determined that Laken's son was born full term, but they were not able to determine his cause of death. Further microscopic analyses are necessary to make that determination. At the time I'm making this video, Laken is working her way through the criminal justice system. Now moving to my analysis. It seems pretty clear that Laken is guilty of concealing the birth of an infant and the other two charges that were filed against her. She, of course, maintains the presumption of innocence, but the case against her seems pretty strong. The real question here is not about these charges, rather about the culpability that Laken may have in the death of her son. Was he alive when he was born?
Now, guys, here's the thing. Had she gone to trial, it could have been a mistrial because they couldn't decide. It could have been a not guilty. It could have been a not guilty by reason of insanity. They had some mental health defense, which we're talking about. She's another one like the other cheerleader. Yep, you got it. We're the Alexi Treviso. We just covered that recently. Guys, Channel 53, Happy Cappy, Crazy Jane. Y'all need to be in the green. I am going to gift memberships when we get into the court proceedings. All right? We got to have all the people in green here. Jay, my mom wasn't hungry, but she craved orange juice mixed with grapefruit juice while pregnant. It's weird. Hey, yeah, you never know what a pregnant woman's going to crave, all right?
If he was alive, was his death accidental, the result of reckless conduct, or the result of intentional conduct? If he was already dead, or his death was accidental, then Laken will probably not be charged with additional offenses. If his death was the result of reckless or intentional conduct, then she could be in serious trouble. This brings me to the question, is Laken guilty of murder or manslaughter? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that she is guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. On August 27, 2025, Laken Snelling gave birth to a son. She wrapped him in a towel, stuffed him in a trash bag, and put the trash bag in the closet.
Now, I want you guys to think about this as we continue covering this today. All right. Think about what he's saying happened versus what she ultimately says happened. All right. And the discrepancies and what could the judge be looking at. What Dr. Grande is talking about is what the judge is going to be looking at. Foxy Amazon, thank you so much. I'm going to say it's for the 420 guilty of crime membership in honor of your brother. Now, guys, if you receive that membership from Foxy, please thank her. All right, that's the one. No one trying to sue hospitals. Yep, you got it. That one's going to be a sticky one. Dark Wizard, who got that membership? Come on out and say hello.
Laken told the police that she believed her son was not alive. Her story about passing out and landing on top of her son makes it seem like she may have killed him by accident. The problem is, she was awake for 30 minutes after giving birth, yet did not call for help. One can make a good argument that this qualifies as reckless. Furthermore, she later told a different story to hospital staff. Laken said she observed a little bit of fetal movement and she heard a whimper. She guessed their son was alive. On August 26, the day before the police were called to her home, Laken searched the internet for the term concealed or...
Yeah, we should put that back up. We got Skylar. All right, Skylar's the one that you're talking about, buried the baby in the backyard and tried to cremate it. We always talk about these cases when we're covering these ones. So we absolutely were talking about Alexi Treviso a couple weeks ago. And then we also talked about Skylar and Laken Snelling. All right, these girls are all in the same damn category. Accidental, my arse. Yeah, how do you accidentally throw something away in a black trash bag while cleaning it up? Hey, Allie, good to see you. Happy Tuesday. All right.
Hidden pregnancy. She also made other searches related to pregnancy. The police found images on Laken's phone of her in labor. Some of these images had been deleted. This makes it seem like Laken was trying to keep it a secret. Perhaps Laken was so determined to conceal the pregnancy, she murdered her son to complete this objective. Moving to the exculpatory factors, the state of Kentucky has not been able to determine the cause of death of Laken's son. If he was not alive when he was born, then there was no murder. If he was alive, which is reasonable to believe based on the available evidence, there's no way to prove Laken was lying about passing out and landing on top of him. Maybe this is what killed him. Perhaps this is reckless, but it is certainly not intentional. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I believe that Laken is guilty of murder or manslaughter? In my opinion, she is guilty of murder in reality, but not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
And I think that's why they gave her a deal, guys. I got to tell you, there had to be a motivation. And as we look back on this case, I believe the motivation absolutely is the prosecution didn't want her to get off. They didn't want that one person to say, you know, this has happened to me. I didn't know I was pregnant when I was young or whatever. One person to relate with her. Listen, 13 years is what she was facing if she went to trial and she got a guilty. So I can't imagine that she would ever plead guilty to a case where she's going to get 13 years anyway. It's just not possible. Jay and Mrs. Guilty. Who's wait, what? I think happy anniversary wishes. Oh, it's been Dark Wizard. Anniversary was it's last month on the 27th, but hey, I'll take it. I don't know, guys. But what is it? What are we celebrating here? So I just had my 21 year anniversary and 18 years married, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. Good looking out. I don't know how you remembered that, but hey, Mo.
It seems clear that she intended to conceal the pregnancy. Killing her son would have been a necessary step to accomplish this objective. Due to a lack of evidence to prove murder, either second-degree manslaughter or reckless homicide is probably the appropriate charge in this case. I think the state can prove that Laken acted recklessly when she ignored clear signs of life and when she failed to seek help. In the state of Kentucky, second-degree manslaughter requires recklessness, consciously disregarding a known risk. Reckless homicide, despite its name, actually involves negligence, not recklessness, failing to recognize a risk that a reasonable person would have perceived. As I mentioned, Laken has not been charged with murder or...
Which, guys, there's only so long you could be in denial, all right? Literally only so long. So many that would love to have baby. And I know, Kelly, listen, I know. Of all people that that knows, I know. Exactly. But I do think that we would have got one sympathetic juror. All right. She hasn't got anything yet, Joanne. We're getting there. She just pled guilty after changing her not guilty plea and claiming a mental health defect. All right. Rose, thank you so much for the $5 super chat towards our goal. Appreciate you.
Manslaughter. She may never be charged, and that would be the end of it. If she is charged, it is possible that her defense will be based on denial of pregnancy. Let's take a look at this construct. Denial of pregnancy is an unusual thought process that occurs in about 0.25% of deliveries. The result of denial is often concealment of the pregnancy, but concealment is technically a separate act. It is possible for a woman to conceal the pregnancy without actually denying the pregnancy. There are 3 types of denial of pregnancy. The first type is pervasive denial. With this type, which accounts for about 1/3 of the cases, the emotional significance and the very existence of the pregnancy are outside of the woman's awareness. All the physical symptoms of pregnancy, like weight gain and even labor pain, are misinterpreted. With pervasive denial, family and friends often do not know the woman is pregnant. The second type is affective denial. This is the most common type, accounting for about 50% of the cases. With affective denial, only the emotional component of pregnancy is denied. The woman feels and behaves as if she is not pregnant. There is no emotional investment in the pregnancy, but the woman does cognitively realize.
So that's what we're probably looking at here. And guys, this is not the first time this has happened, right? We just talked about 2 other cases plus this one. So this happens again and again. Who the case gets picked up by or what coverage explodes, I don't know. I don't know if it's like, hey, that's a pretty blonde chick that was a beauty queen and a cheerleader. Let's cover that. That's not how I cover it, but we don't put these international or national cases. We don't make it. Whatever algorithm picks up, and you never know. Absolutely, DJ. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you said that because I see you on the streets of YouTube, and some of those streets are pretty dirty. So I'm glad you know. All right, I'm glad. Little Red, good to see you. Did you email me about the Krista Pike case? Because I do want to cover that tomorrow if possible. Hey, Joanne, thank you so much for the $9.99 towards our goal. Go sub up to DJ if you haven't as well. Shout out to Melissa. Hey, I'm glad that you're getting some time off, my friend.
That she is pregnant. So as they relate to the pregnancy, thinking and feeling are separated. The third type of denial of pregnancy is psychotic denial. This is the least frequent type. Here, the woman is delusional. She is out of touch with reality. The psychosis leads to the denial of the pregnancy. People who are psychotic can maintain all kinds of unusual beliefs. For example, they are being chased by demons, the CIA is spying on them, or alien lizard humanoids have infiltrated Hollywood. Their refusal to believe that the pregnancy is real is simply another delusion, which may or may not be accompanied by other delusions. About 50% of women with denial of pregnancy have a mental disorder, although this figure is probably underestimated. Only 23% of women with this condition report a mental health history. Denial is strongly associated with unassisted delivery, and there is a dramatic increase in the risk of the child dying, especially within the first 24 hours following birth. Now moving back to the case of Laken Snelling. One can make a good argument that Laken was suffering from denial of pregnancy at the time of her son's death. Affective denial seems to be the most likely type based on the facts of this case, but there is no way to know for certain at this point. In the event that Laken is charged with something like murder or manslaughter, she will have this defense available. This will make it more difficult for the state to get a conviction. Even if they do get a conviction, the denial of pregnancy could be a mitigating factor at sentencing. For many years, women who killed their children immediately after giving birth received sentences consistent with other killers, like a person who kills the clerk at a convenience store during a robbery, or an individual who kills a romantic competitor during an affair. Recently, however, that is...
You know what? I mean, I hope you guys are really listening to the analysis because let me tell you, this case, it's so uncertain with what he's referring to that, guys, I hate to say this, but October 16th is going to come and it's going to go. And I think that she's not going to get what we think she should at all. All right. Definitely out of touch. I know. And vice versa. Happy Cappy. I keep seeing the people taking their kids' life and their kids taking their parents' life. It's wild. I don't know what's going on with this day and age. Guess what? I'm transgender and my cousin Carol's also gay. So preach to I love it pride community. Yeah, I put my my link in chat for my book if you want to go check that out. DJ or anybody, just, hey, it's funny. It gets your mind away from true crime for a bit. And shout out, DJ. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right. Yes, Krista Pike. That's why we got to cover that, because they're looking at a hanging. And Happy Cappy, did you know that Krista Pike is the youngest woman ever on death row? She was, I think she was a teenager when the whole case happened. All right. Let's continue.
Changed. Many jurisdictions now view this type of killing as motivated by mental health factors. A killing involving denial of pregnancy is now dealt with in a more lenient fashion. For example, the notorious Kelly Lane case from Australia involved a woman who was convicted in 2010 for the 1996 murder of her daughter. She was sentenced to 18 years, eligible for parole in just 13 years. In 2022, a Pennsylvania woman named Gail Eastwood Ritchie was found guilty of the 1993 murder of her infant son. She was sentenced to life in prison. However, she is eligible for parole in just 15 years. If Laken Snelling is charged with murder or manslaughter and is found to have the affective type of denial of pregnancy, she may not benefit from the same degree of leniency. A woman with this type of denial cognitively understands that she is pregnant and still knows the difference between right and wrong. Her best hope now is to avoid being charged in the first place. Those are my thoughts on the case of Laken Snelling. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Denial of pregnancy may seem like...
All right, denial of pregnancy. What else has he got for us? His final thoughts? Hold on.
Deny that too. It makes sense that that construct exists. Some people just cannot face that reality. Pregnancy has a lot of different implications. It is life-changing. Some people simply aren't ready. Even though this type of denial could be considered a mitigating factor, it is important to remember that it doesn't absolve somebody of wrongdoing. It's not really a great defense for somebody to say they were denying something, therefore they're not responsible. If somebody understands that...
But you guys got to understand this. I need you guys to understand this before we move into the crying court scene. What he's saying is true. Look at the comparisons that we just looked at.
Mr. Lowry, what are we?
There she is in court. The comparisons that we're looking at in the case, look at the difference. And Rocco, I can't believe Darla Rudier is still on death row. It's going to be 40 years. But we got Lindsay Clancy that has a slew of people that are supporting her saying she didn't do it. Maybe her husband did. She had too many pills. It was mental health, postpartum. It's the most wild thing. Rocco, I don't even think Darla Routier did kill her children. It is complicated. Good to see you, Wyatt. It's been a while. I was actually thinking about you on yesterday. I was like, dude, where's Wyatt? Now listen, Darla is a complicated case. However, I don't think she did it. But when you look at a case like that and you compare it to another one where a newborn was taken, their life taken by a mom and life in prison versus Lindsay Clancy. What are we talking about here? She took a cord, wrapped it around each child individually, methodically, and then cut her wrists in the wrong way and jumped out of the window. How is that anything less than what it sounds like? Well, because nowadays everything's postpartum, mental health, and I get it. Yeah, the sock in the alley. There's the sock in the alley, and gotta tell you, that sock in the alley, number one, how did it get there? And number two, she was millimeters, guys, away from actually cutting an artery that she would have killed herself. If you don't know about the Darla case, then you might want to go back and watch it. The more I watch it and listen to the evidence and hear what's going on, not even just the sock, but listen, Wyatt, how does one try to take their own life and only miss it by a centimeter? Now, if you look at Darla Routier's cut, it goes up like this. I don't think you would do that to yourself, and you wouldn't be able to get that kind of motion where she was cut. But if somebody was coming from behind her and they were taller, which makes a lot of sense, somebody's taller and comes behind and they put a knife up to your neck and they pull it, that's how it's gonna go. So I can't. You think she did it? I don't know, man. I'm normally not those people that are like, I don't think she did it, but in the Darla Routier case, I just don't see how she did it. And you see, that's what I'm saying. Like, how it just doesn't make sense to me. All right. You can't miss a centimeter or a millimeter away. Jave always saw her husband, Darren. And yeah, people thought that too. So we're going back to Lindsay Clancy, Lindsay Clancy case where they blame her husband and Darren as well. Darren was up sleeping with the baby, didn't know a thing. Yeah, not enough evidence for the death penalty. Agreed. All right, let's get into this. We know now this is no alleged. This woman here, Laken Snelling, is now admitting, we're going to hear in her own words, her pleading guilty to her newborn's death. How many years is she going to face? All right. Is that a baby in the courtroom? Her? Hey, Tail Smith. I don't know. I don't see a baby, but we're going to continue looking. Hey, Wilma, good to see you. How you doing? Pike needs to go, but is Pike going to get executed by hanging? Does anyone know about that? She wants execution by hanging. They're trying to push for that. Hey, Colleen. Blah, blah, blah. Cry for being guilty would have been NG for Darlene. I that's what I'm saying. But you got to go back. We got to go back and look at the fine details. All right. But in this case, we're talking about Laken. She's pleading guilty after not pleading guilty for almost a year. And here's the judge. All right. Let's get into it.
So, Mr. Lowry, what are we doing today?
We're prepared to enter a plea today.
All right.
Entering a plea.
Ms. Laken, your attorney has indicated to me that it is your desire today to change your plea from not guilty to guilty based on the Commonwealth's recommendation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I accept your plea, one, I need to make sure you know what you're doing. And two, I need to make sure this is your free and voluntary act. One, I need to make sure you know what you're doing. And two, I need to make sure this is your free and voluntary act and no one's forced.
Now, mind you, what about the Koberger case? All right. The Koberger case, he did all of this and now he comes back and says, nah. All right. Nah. Pike needs to go. Don't care how. Wow. You're like, nah. You have the info. You have info on the part of. Okay. All right. It would just message me. A woman is holding the baby in the bag. Didn't think the baby's. You know what? I was wondering the same thing, but you can have children in the courtroom if you're holding them and they're sitting in your lap, not being, not interrupting. All right. She's up for about 15 years. All right, let's continue because we got a while. We're going to go through this. You're going to hear her. You're going to hear her pleading guilty, her crying. Is it real? Is it genuine? Is it not? And then we're going to talk about all of this with the sentence.
You into that. So in order for me to get there, I need to ask you a series of questions. So if you wouldn't mind raising your right hand for me. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, you're a little low speaking here. I'm gonna need you to speak up,
Okay.
or I'm gonna have to put on these little hearing aid things for this courtroom so I can hear you, okay? Because we need to get this all recorded, so I need you to speak up for me, okay? First of all, tell me your full name, your age, and your birthday.
Laken Ashley Snelling. I'm 22. My birthday is 12/22/2003.
And what is your usual address and occupation?
2145 Rambling Rose Lane, Jefferson City, Tennessee.
Now, am I the only one that thinks that she's pleading guilty right now? She's pleading guilty to these charges that we just talked about for the last 45 minutes. And she's got a smirk on her face. Or is that just me because she put on a bunch of weight and now her face is doing this? I don't know. But she was not in jail or anything. She was housed. She was out on bond at home. All right. Hey, Andy Isham, good to see you. 4 p.m., my friend. 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. But I hear you. I get you, Indy. Hope you're doing well. Why can't she speak up? She can. Let's listen. She just doesn't look like she has any kind of remorse for anybody else but herself.
And I'm unemployed.
When's the last time you worked?
Last summer,
And what kind of work did you do?
I was an ice cream server.
Okay. What is your education?
I finished my junior year of college.
Okay. So you can read and write.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you the same person named in indictment 26 CR 209 that charged you with manslaughter in the first degree, abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you suffered in the past or have you currently been treated for any mental illness?
No, ma'am.
Are you sick or ill in any way today?
No, ma'am.
Are you taking any drugs or medication that would affect your ability to understand what you're doing today?
No, ma'am.
Have you had all the time you need to talk to your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Have any complaints regarding his representation of you?
No, ma'am.
What is the recommendation from the Commonwealth as it relates to Ms. Snelling?
Now, listen, I don't think so as well, Lil Red. Here's the thing. She's been out the whole time. She was only on $100,000 bond, which means she had no priors, and they didn't think that she was a flight risk or a harm to anybody else. All right. Again, watch her posture, watch her facial features, watch when she's crying and when she's not. I just am not finding it genuine, but it doesn't matter. She's still going to get what she's going to get.
Count 1, manslaughter in the first degree, 10 years as charged. Count 2, abuse of a corpse, 1 year as charged. Count 3, tampering with physical evidence, 1 year as charged. And count 4, concealing the birth of an infant, 12 months.
Yes.
Ms. Snelling, have you read or has your attorney read to you the waiver of further proceedings with a petition to enter a guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you fully understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you made a decision to sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let the record reflect you're signing it for me now here in open court. Ma'am, do you understand the facts for which you have been charged or having alleged against you in the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Has your attorney informed you what the Commonwealth would have to prove in order to convict you of the offenses contained in the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Has your attorney informed you of any lesser included offenses, any possible defenses you could have if you went to trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing all of this, ma'am, are you telling me that you are guilty of manslaughter in the first degree, abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant?
Yes, ma'am.
As a defendant in a criminal case, sir, ma'am, you have certain constitutional rights. Do you understand, ma'am, that you have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one would be appointed?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand that you have a right to a trial by jury?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand you have a right at trial to testify or not testify?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you also understand you have a right not to incriminate yourself in any way?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand you have a right to confront any witnesses that the Commonwealth could call to testify against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand you have a right to compel witnesses to come and testify on your behalf?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand, ma'am, that even though today you're telling me you're guilty, you're presumed innocent, the burden of proof is always on the Commonwealth to prove each and every charge beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
Do you understand, ma'am, that if you went to trial and you were found guilty, you would have a right to an appeal? And if you could not afford the cost of that appeal or an attorney to assist you with that appeal, the Commonwealth could supply you with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand, ma'am, by entering today's guilty plea, you're waiving all of those rights? There'd be no trial, there'd be no witnesses, and there'd be no appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear the recommendation from the Commonwealth?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand that that was going to be their recommendation today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the range of the penalties associated with the charges for which you're pleading guilty to?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand that I'm not bound by the Commonwealth's recommendation? I could choose to impose a greater sentence, but if I did that, I would allow you to withdraw your guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you?
Do you see what's happening here, though? I mean, really, the judge doesn't seem too concerned about Laken and her being out, etc. So I'm just wondering what she's weighing the factors with. What evidence does she have that we haven't seen? All right, Bree, what's up? Yeah, we want to laugh, right? We like laughing. Her dad's probably standing behind her. Her parents probably are both standing behind her because you know what? They have been standing behind her. She went and moved with them while being out on bond. All right, Wilma, rest in peace. Dolly, she done a lot for people in Tennessee. Amen to that. All right, DJ. And we don't have access to the autopsy report, but the autopsy report said that the baby died by asphyxiation. All right, that means that the medical examiner said the baby was born, took breaths, and then ultimately got the breaths taken away, suffocation, and then put into a trash bag and thrown away and cleaned up like trash. All right.
Under the threats of any other charges at this time?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand, ma'am, when you are pleading guilty to more than one felony, those times can sometimes either run concurrently, that means all at the same time, or consecutively, back to back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you on probation or parole or anything at this time?
No, ma'am.
Has any threats, promises, or anything been promised to you that if you plead guilty, I will go easy on you, probate you, or give you some special treatment?
No, ma'am.
So did you actually commit the crime that you're pleading guilty to?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you did.
I was under a lot of emotional stress and my baby came unexpected.
Again, that shouldn't even be a factor. That shouldn't even have come out. All right. We know you're under emotional stress. Having a baby hurts like F, I'm sure. But regardless, there's no remorse until she starts talking about that. I just can't stand how she opened it with that. Hey, Katie, good to see you guys. Good to see you. Anybody new that just came in right now? All right, let me go back for a second. I won't interrupt. It makes me mad that she wasn't upset until now.
Under a lot of emotional stress and my baby came unexpectedly. And instead of helping him, I had decided. And afterwards I cleaned up and didn't tell him.
Okay. So tell me, when you say instead of helping him, you did what?
I ended his life.
How did you end his life, ma'am?
I deprived him of oxygen.
Okay. All right. And
she deprived him of oxygen. All right. Again, medical examiner said asphyxiation. Yeah, I know. Everybody's under stress. I'm under stress right now. Unexpected baby. Does she not know that it takes 9 months to have a baby? It can't be that unexpected when you're having unprotected sex or whatever it is that she did to get herself there.
And did you tell me about this tampering with physical evidence? What did you do with the evidence that could have been collected?
I put the towels in a plastic bag.
Okay. And what about this concealing the birth?
I didn't tell anyone after.
Okay. All righty. So are you pleading guilty today of your own free will without any threats, pressures, or promises from anyone to get you to do so?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that you have the rights which I've mentioned and which are contained in the guilty plea form that you put your signature to, is it still your desire today? Waive those rights, enter a guilty plea, and allow the courts to fix your penalty.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Lowry or Mr. Marshall?
Yes. I'll do it, Judge.
Okay. Do any of you have any questions for your client?
No, ma'am.
Do you represent her in this matter as appointed or retained?
Retained.
Do you have any reason to doubt the identity she's presented here to the court?
No, ma'am.
And have you explained to her all of her applicable constitutional rights, specifically her abortion
Oh,
rights?
yeah.
And in your opinion, does she understand her constitutional rights and the nature of today's
We
proceedings?
believe she does.
And have you explained to her the elements of the offenses contained in the indictment,
Yeah.
the elements of any lesser included offenses, as well as any possible defenses she could have if she went to trial?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe she understands those?
We believe she does.
Is this plea consistent with your
It
advice?
is.
And do you believe that her plea today is being made voluntarily, freely, intelligently, and understandingly?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe that there is sufficient factual basis to support her guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty, ma'am, you've heard your attorney's answers. Do you agree with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on the statements made here in open court, the statements contained in the guilty plea form that you put your signature to, the court finds that you understand the nature of what we're doing today, the nature of the charges against you, the elements of the charges against you, the elements of any lesser included offenses, as well as any possible defenses you could have if you went to trial. The court further finds that your plea today is being made intelligently, freely, and voluntarily, and that you intelligently, knowingly, and voluntarily waive your right to a trial by jury, your privilege against self-incrimination, your right to confront witnesses, as well as the right to an appeal, and that there is a factual basis to support this guilty plea. Therefore, it is ordered that the petition be filed and your plea of guilty be entered and accepted. It is ordered and adjudged that you, Ms. Laken Ashley Snelling, is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree with a recommendation of 10 years. You're also guilty of abuse of a corpse with a recommendation of 1 year, as well as tampering with physical evidence with a recommendation of 1 year, and concealing the birth of an infant with a recommendation of 12 months. But before we actually impose sentencing, I'm going to ask probation and parole to do a pre-sentencing investigation report for me. Give me just a little.
Again, guys, there's going to be nothing in the pre-sentence investigation. There's no priors. There's nothing that says she tried to run or revoked her bond. None of that. And Dark Wizard, that's what I said too. It looks like she's smirking while she's crying. No, you don't need new glasses. I looked at that several times before I started this episode, and that includes this picture that was created here. This picture was created based on what we're watching right now, and she absolutely wipes her eyes, and it looks like she's got a smirk, right? And on this one too, I pulled the same thing from there. Now it's a little bit of AI because it was blurry, but you can see her face right there. She looks like she's smirking, and we're not done yet. Hey, Teresa. All right, we're not done. We're going to talk about everything else that comes with this. We're just watching her in court for the plea, and then we'll continue.
Bit more information about you, and we will schedule that sentencing. Mr. Lowry, any of my October dates?
16th, October 16th, okay.
10/16. All right, Ms. Snelling, between now and then, you're going to meet with probation and parole. Get me a report called a pre-sentencing investigation report. Your attorneys may file any additional information they would like the court to be aware of for your sentencing. The victim's family will have an opportunity to file a victim statement as well as making statements.
Now, this makes sense, right? Because the victim's family is the baby's dad, Zay. All right, we went over that. That is the father of baby boy Snelling. And Isaiah and his family were very prepared to take that baby and raise the baby alone if she didn't want it. But she didn't give that opportunity to anyone. All right. Yeah, Deb's all good. I think she's doing something with the dogs or whatever. She's no bolo for her. She's all good. All right. All right. So let's get back to this. We just wanted to check this out in court. We're going to start in the first frame with this weird looking smug look on her face that I can't quite understand if she's being remorseful or what this is, right? What this is. Look at her Amish looking, right? She looked nothing like that earlier. I agree, Mystic, but we don't do that anymore. The justice system is now geared towards the perpetrators. Those who commit the crimes seem to get more I don't even know how to say that. It's not okay. It's not okay that victims don't have as many rights. Yeah, she's free. She's been free the entire time. Look at Foxy. She's getting worked up here. All right, I am going to gift the membership as we get into this, guys. So make sure you hit the like button and drop a comment. That will help to get you one more chance to get in it. All right, Bree, I got you.
Instead of helping him, you did what?
I ended his life.
A shocking update in the case of the former college cheerleader and beauty queen charged with manslaughter in connection to the death of her newborn son. Laken Snelling was accused of giving birth in her college apartment and then, after the boy died, hiding his body in a trash bag and leaving.
How did you end his life?
I deprived him of oxygen.
Okay, all right.
Today, in her own words, for the first time, we hear a shocking and emotional admission in court. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
All right, Chris Stewart. I think this came out about maybe 2 days ago. I'm actually
Laken Snelling with her.
Hold on. I'm actually
Then came
really
this.
Tell me what.
I'm actually really surprised that more people aren't covering this. All right. I really can't understand that. But hey, I'm here for it. We've been covering this case since it happened, and it's no different or better than any of the other cases. So that's why I'm documenting it, covering it, and then we're moving forward. It's hard to cover something like this and want justice for Zay's family and the baby and then just not cover it. So I appreciate you guys so much for being here, supporting the channel today, hanging with me while I present it, because obviously other people are elsewhere and I see where they are. People would rather listen to crama or drama, but not us. Not us, because we want to make a difference. I agree, but that's not ever going to happen. Hey, Sharon, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. All right, let's get into it.
You did.
I was under a lot of emotional distress, and my baby came unexpectedly. And instead of helping him, I ended his life. And afterwards, I cleaned up and didn't tell him.
Laken Snelling, with her two attorneys by her side, sobbed in front of the judge as she pleaded guilty to major charges, including first-degree manslaughter. Prosecutors also put in what they believe her punishment should be. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But we need to talk about the emotion that we saw in court today, because it is by far the most emotion that we have seen out of Laken Snelling since her arrest in August of last year, when we first started covering this story. And we've seen her in court multiple times. There are even moments where she smiled in court during previous hearings, but today was certainly different. And that's because she was admitting guilt in this case.
Look at that face.
Now, it takes a lot for an attorney to recommend to their client that they're going to have them plead guilty to what prosecutors are alleging. And we're going to go through the evidence in this case to show you why Laken Snelling and her legal team potentially decided that this was the best path forward instead of a trial. So let's go back to when this story began. It is 10:30 in the morning, August 27th, 2025 in Lexington, Kentucky. That's where the University of Kentucky is. That's where Laken Snelling went to college. She was there for 3 years, and then she withdrew after her arrest because of what prosecutors say happened. And law enforcement is called to off-campus housing in Lexington and to the home where Laken Snelling was living with her roommates. Now, Snelling had a lot going for her. She was a student at the University of Kentucky, but she was also a varsity athlete because she was a member of the University of Kentucky Wildcats stunt cheerleading team. And we're not just talking about.
Now, guys, we've analyzed this case 7 ways from Sunday, and it's only been ongoing for the last year, but I think many of us were pretty outraged that we could see this girl being pregnant. We can see her having boyfriends, going to dances, doing all of these things. Now, mind you, I don't think her parents knew at all. She didn't live with them. All right. She didn't live with them by any stretch of the means, but she was going to college. She was, I think she had like another year. She was doing cheerleading, and simply she decided for herself, it'd be better not to have a baby. All right. Bestie said she's evil. How selfish, right? Hey, Just Christine, good to see you. Welcome. Oh my goodness, Snippy got that. You're very welcome. Don't forget, members only Mondays. All right. Hey, Sonia, good to see you. From Shafter, California. Is it Shasta, California? All right. Same with Alexi, human trash bag extraordinaire.
A group that tries to get the crowd going on the sidelines of a football game. Stunt cheerleading is a lot of high flying, acrobatic tricks, a lot of coordination. You take a look at this screen grab here from a video of the Wildcats competing. This is per Flow Cheer on YouTube. And this video was taken in April of 2025. And that means if the baby that Laken Snelling gave birth to was full term in August, that she was very much pregnant at the time of this competition. Now, when police get to Laken Snelling's home on that day in August, they find a baby in a trash bag in a closet. Police say the child was also wrapped in a towel. The baby boy was pronounced dead on scene. Now, the arrest citation reportedly says that when police spoke to Laken Snelling, she admitted to giving birth to the child. Then she allegedly said that she concealed the birth by cleaning evidence and putting all of the cleaning items inside a black trash bag along with the body of her newborn son.
Listen, she wasn't getting prenatal care, or if she was, and she wasn't, but I'm saying if she was getting prenatal care, there would be a huge red flag. Okay. Nowadays, women go in to get prenatal care and then they just don't come back. There's going to be a problem. Your doctor's office going to be calling you and saying, yo, what happened to the baby? Like, maybe not in that manner, but you could do that when you're pregnant if you're not getting any, if you're not gaining weight, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, if you're not, I mean, we could see it was just a small baby bump, right? Hey, Gianna, good to see you. It's Turtle Island tonight. Oh no, you found a lump? Please keep us posted. All right. Hello, Gianna. Everybody send Gianna a prayer. She's not feeling well. We hope the lump in your left armpit is not anything cancerous or terrible. Okay. Prayers for you. Hang out on the sidelines. Turtle Island tonight. Put it on. Watch us get crazy. All right. Yeah. Huge prayer for you. Hey, Holly. Good to see you. I hope you're feeling good today or better. A lot of people are getting sick.
Who was wrapped in a towel. Now, according to police, an autopsy showed that the baby was born alive and then died of asphyxia by undetermined means. Snelling reportedly told police that she gave birth to that boy around 4 o'clock in the morning, and she didn't think the baby was breathing or alive. She also said that she was awake for about a half hour, and then she fell asleep on top of the baby. When she woke up, she said the baby had turned blue and purple, and she reportedly said that she did not think the baby was alive. She then said she wrapped the baby like a burrito, laid next to it in what she called a moment of comfort, and then left. She also reportedly cleaned up the blood in her room with paper towels and put the placenta in a Ziploc bag. Now, even though, again, she just went through this major medical event and she has her son who is dead, Snelling left the house to go to class. Then she said she didn't actually end up going into the classroom, but she sat in a car. And court documents say she ordered McDonald's through the McDonald's app. Now, while all of this was happening,
This is just, it is. And Wilma, this is the story that she was telling prior to. All right. The pretty popular girl who could do no wrong. That was her story. She was sticking to it. That was what was happening in this case. She was going to plead not guilty by reason of mental health. All right. That's what brought us here to this plea deal. All right. Huge prayers. You're very welcome, my friend. Very, very welcome. All right, let's continue. She wrapped the baby up like a burrito, like you would swaddle your baby after the baby's born. Babies love to be swaddled, but they don't want to be swaddled and then put into black garbage bags. And then for you to go to class and then order something to eat. It's just beyond what I could understand.
appears to have been multiple roommates in the home. And around the time Snelling reportedly said that she gave birth, one of her roommates texted a Snapchat group that they thought they heard something fall. And another roommate said that they thought they heard noises for roughly an hour. Now, after Snelling left for class, her roommates go into her room. And it appears that she never told them that she was pregnant, but they were suspicious. And when they entered the room, they allegedly found a blood-soaked towel and a plastic bag containing evidence of childbirth. And they also found that baby boy. And that's when they called the police. Now, Snelling eventually went to a hospital, and it is there she allegedly told doctors, according to court records, that the baby displayed, quote, a little bit of fetal movement, and he made a, quote, whimper. And she, quote, guessed the baby was.
You gotta remember the Alexi Treviso case as well. She was in the hospital and she said the same thing. The baby didn't cry. I gave birth, panicked, and put the baby in the trash. She was at the hospital. Now, this person right here, Laken, was right down the street from a box, from a safe haven or whatever you call them, a safe haven box. She could have had the baby, took her ass down there and put the baby in, and nobody would have said a damn thing. You remember the prom mom back in the days from the Jersey area, Jersey Shore, did like 10 years in prison. I don't remember that. I'd like to, though. I'm going to have to look that up. Sew her stuff up. Y'all are brutal. The baby's father didn't get an opportunity because she did that. She wasn't with Zay at the time. She had another boyfriend, and she just decided not to tell anybody, allegedly.
Alive. Now, those statements, you can tell, very important from a legal perspective as this case goes forward, but it's also a bit different from what she allegedly told police, according to court documents. Now, on top of the physical evidence, there appears to have been a good amount of digital evidence against Snelling. Police say that they have images of Snelling that she allegedly took during labor that she then deleted. Police said in a request for a search warrant for her social media accounts that they could, quote, contain current or deleted information that relates to Miss Snelling's pregnancy to the birth of the full-term baby and ultimately its potential demise, end quote. A grand jury heard Snelling's case in January, and the indictment came down in March, and that included a charge of first-degree manslaughter. That took the case to an entirely new level. The indictment read, on the count of first-degree manslaughter, quote, she caused the death of the infant or with the intent to cause the death of the infant under circumstances which do not constitute murder because she acted.
So now you guys could understand why they're talking about manslaughter charges. Now it doesn't make sense, right? We all want to string her up and then never let her have kids again. But what happens in these cases is if the prosecution overcharges, these people are going to walk away. They're going to walk away unscathed. All right. They're not going to have any kind of criminal record. They're not going to have anything. So they don't want that to happen. All right. What did I miss here? She's called the baby it since day one. Pathetic. Agreed. All right. What do we got going on here? I'm starting to think the word baby translates to trash in Cheerleader's brand. Apparently, but if we could just get across to one of these cheerleader, beauty queens, whatever you want to call it, if we get across to one, like, don't do that. If you're going to give birth and the baby just going to fly out, then let it fly out and let somebody adopt it. Put it in the safe haven box. I don't know. Her roommate said the roommate said she knew she was pregnant. Surely they said it to her. I don't know if they said that they knew, but I think they absolutely had suspicion. All right. I just don't know. I don't think it means she's going to get a pass, but I got to tell you, with this plea deal, I have a feeling she is going to get a lot of time shaved off of this. All right. Brooke Skylar Richardson, she walked. Yep. And she even tried to cremate her baby. All right. Sorry, Gabby. That's rough.
Under the influence of extreme emotional disturbance or through circumstances not otherwise constituting the offense of murder, end quote. WKYT television spoke with the Commonwealth attorney about how the grand jury landed on manslaughter as the charge against Snelling. And Kimberly Baird reportedly said the grand jury was given information about the 4 levels of homicide in Kentucky, and the grand jury decided first-degree manslaughter was the best fit based on the evidence in this case. So you can see there, prosecutors had a pretty strong case against Laken Snelling. And then we go to today, and this is what happened when her case came before the judge. Here is Laken Snelling. She's at the podium with her attorneys by her side.
So, Mr. Lowry, what are we doing today?
We're prepared to enter a plea today.
All right. Ms. Laken, your attorney has indicated to me that it is your desire today to change your plea from not guilty to guilty based on the Commonwealth's recommendation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I accept your plea, 1, I need to make sure you know what you're doing. And 2, I need to make sure this is your free and voluntary act and no one's forcing you into that. So in order for me to get there, I need to ask you a series of questions. So if you wouldn't mind raising your right hand for me. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, you're a little low speaking here. I'm gonna need you to speak up,
Okay.
or I'm gonna have to put on these little hearing aid things for this courtroom so I can hear you, okay? Because we need to get this all recorded, so I need you to speak up for me, okay?
She's pretty.
First of all,
the judge is pretty nice with her. I'm wondering what's going to happen with this in October. You know what? I don't know. Lil Red, there's got to be some kind of correlation with where we are in life in 2026, technology, the instant gratification, because it's not just children taking parents taking their children's life. It's parents taking the children. It's vice versa. Parents and kids taking their parents. It keeps happening. Agreed, Janet. I don't know what's going on. There's another case I just sent to the mods yesterday. Another house of horrors. All right. Left 2 children in there. One of them was naked, covered in poop, and the other one was just covered in poop. Law enforcement goes in there, finds one of the kids. There's stuff stacked everywhere. The mom's obviously on D rugs and she's not even home. So I don't know what keeps happening. What is happening? Her parents are wealthy. She doesn't have a court-appointed attorney. Well, that's another possibility why they're taking a plea deal. We live in a culture that a baby is only important if the mother wants to keep. I know, that's so wild. I don't know. Hold on, let me press play.
tell me your full name, your age, and your birthday.
That was a bombshell moment, no doubt about it. And Laken Snelling is pleading guilty. And that includes that manslaughter charge, which could include serious prison time, which we'll talk about here in a second. As this hearing went on, the judge asked for information like Laken Snelling's birthday and address, and then the judge broke down what Snelling is admitting to.
And are you the same person named in indictment 26 CR 209 that charged you with manslaughter in the first degree, abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you suffered in the past, or have you currently been treated for any mental illness?
No, ma'am.
Are you sick or ill in any way today?
No, ma'am.
Are you taking any drugs or medication that would affect your ability to understand what you're doing today?
No, ma'am.
Have you had all the time you need to talk to your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Have any complaints regarding his representation of you?
No, ma'am.
She's all,
The
hell
judge
no, I don't.
finishes going through some of the procedural questions.
She's like, this, they're getting me off. I agree with that. She's a spoiled brat. And Mab, I do believe you, because especially in California, all right, it's hard to make sure that you're in your child's life. Mom gets favored, probably as in many states, right? But we've seen it, and we've seen it again and again. We know. And not only for fathers it is, but many people that just want to have children and can't. And then you've got girls like this that don't want to be fat or don't want somebody to know that they had a baby And so they just take the life of it. I agree, Arizona's. I agree. And we got to look outside of ourselves sometimes and also look at who we surround ourselves with and try to keep a good core group of people and friends that want better, because you're right, this world is so sick and it's getting sicker, people and children, and just you guys can see what's happening online, you see what's happening all over the world. I get it, Mab. I get it. My mom, I knew she was going to come in and say that. I've seen it time and time again. All right. Hey, the real Italian true sleuth. All right, watch how her face changes from here. Like, she doesn't seem remorseful or any of that. But then when it comes to the sentencing, are you feeling this way? Or the judge talks to her about what she did or why, then she cries, but I don't see tears.
And then wants Laken Snelling on the record talking about what she did.
Tell me what you did.
I was under a lot of emotional distress.
Start over.
And my baby came unexpectedly.
No, babies don't come
And instead
unexpectedly.
of helping him, I had decided. And afterwards, I cleaned up and didn't tell him.
She didn't even say what
So
she did.
tell me, when you say instead of helping him, you did what?
I ended his life.
How did you end his life, ma'am?
I deprived him of oxygen.
Okay, all right. And did you tell me about this tampering with physical evidence? What did you do with the evidence that could have been collected?
I put the towels in a plastic bag.
Okay. And what about this concealing the birth?
I didn't tell anyone after.
Okay.
That is Snelling, in her own words, making a shocking admission in court. And Snelling agrees to everything that has been alleged against her for more than a year. The judge asked prosecutors what they want for a punishment, and this is what they said.
What is the recommendation from the Commonwealth as it relates to Ms. Snelling?
As to count 1, manslaughter in the first degree, 10 years as charged. Count 2, abuse of a corpse, 1 year as charged. Count 3, tampering with physical evidence, 1 year as charged. And count 4, concealing the birth of an infant, 12 months as charged.
So just so we're on the same page here, we're talking potentially 10 years in prison for manslaughter. And then you have 1 year apiece for the remaining 4 counts. You have abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence.
Now, guys, this is what she was facing. The judge does seem nice. But listen, this is what she was facing if she went to trial and got convicted on all charges. Okay? So what she's facing now, more than likely, is probably not even half of that, which I hate to say that, but Mama Pearl, I came in there right before this and said, Mom, it's not looking good. I don't think she's going to get anywhere near what the charges the judge are saying and the penalties. I just simply don't. All right. I don't think so.
And concealing the birth of an infant. Laken Snelling will be sentenced on October 16th. Join us now to talk more about this and what could happen next. Criminal defense attorney Sky Lazaro, always great to have you here.
Yes.
On Law and Crime. It's a terrible story, and it looks like now Laken.
It's like my guilty pleasure. I like Sky Lazaro. She's like a bulldog. So when she comes in and says things, it commands and demands my attention. Let's listen to what she says, because you guys know she was covering the Corey Richins, or she was the defense attorney originally for Corey Richins, and it got contentious. She ran out of money. Corey Richins is crazy. She tried to get some things put into jail, get some whitening strips and some stuff. She did some crazy stuff, but Sky Lazaro is a freaking bulldog. All right. And now I'm posting this because I know it's important. And also, you've said it a couple of times, Foxy, and I want people to know that Dolly Parton, she did pass away at 80, but since 1995, she had her imagination library. She mailed free books directly to children's home, giving more than 300 million books to kids in the U.S. and beyond. So may Dolly Parton rest in peace, guys. All right. I just want everyone to see that. All right. She's more than just some of the things that we talk about. We sound a little excited there about what? What am I excited about? What did I get excited about? Let's continue.
Snelling will be headed to prison to some extent. Looking up at Kentucky law, mandatory between 10 and 20 years. Prosecutors asked for 10, which would be the minimum of the mandatory.
Yep.
What do you make of the potential punishment for Laken Snelling after what we saw today in court?
Yeah, first of all, this is a really, really tragic case. And we heard from Laken in her own words today when she had to tell the judge what exactly she did to satisfy the elements of the crime, that the baby was born alive and that she restricted his breathing or
There you go.
essentially
That's it.
asphyxiated him, and that was the cause of death. What we're going to see at sentencing is she pled essentially to everything in this case. She pled to every charge, the manslaughter being the lead charge, and carrying a possible prison sentence of 10 to 20 years. Sounds like, my guess is the prosecution's asking for 10 because she took responsibility and pled to everything. But ultimately, this is going to be up to the judge. She's going to go do a pre-sentence report. They're going to come back for sentencing. There's a lot that's probably going to go into the sentencing. People can write letters on her behalf. Victims have the right to be heard or a representative. I don't know if the father of the baby's family is involved in any way, but they would have a right to be heard possibly at sentencing.
Now
ultimately this will lie with the judge how much time she's going to do.
Yep.
What did you make of just how this went down today? Because this was supposed to be, or at least, who knows what the prosecutors knew ahead of time. They seemed prepared, but as far as the docket, this was going to be a status hearing. And then it's, changing her plea from not guilty to guilty. And then we hear her in her own words for the first time. As someone who's a criminal defense attorney, like, what's the coordination that goes into what we saw play out in the courtroom today?
Yeah, and these are interesting because the public doesn't get much of a heads up on these because there'll be a status hearing. But these conversations, she has very good defense lawyers. These conversations, they were clearly well known to the judge as well today.
She's a bulldog.
Watch the hearing, but these conversations have probably been going on for quite some time. Every once in a while, you do get a case where all of a sudden the prosecution is like, "Here's the deal, take it or leave it." So you have to make a decision quickly. Usually in a case like this, especially one that's had some media and has been followed quite extensively, they've been having these conversations. And sometimes
I don't know why it's doing that right now. Look at this. Like, it's all messed up. Look at this. What just came out. I'm trying to. It's just so delayed.
sometimes it takes a long time to get
Oh
your
my
client,
goodness.
to a place where
It's
they can accept
terrible.
responsibility and get up and say
Dang.
the words that they need to say to change their plea. So I don't think this is too out of the blue. I would think that these conversations have been ongoing probably for quite some time between the state and the defense team. And it was just, today Laken was prepared to go in there and change her plea.
There's a huge delay on the video. Yeah, you know what? The funny thing is, meme is that she has not been incarcerated. Many times when these people are incarcerated, we see them get like that because of the jail food, but she's been at home the whole time. All right. She looks like a matter of fact in that picture. Best little whorehouse in Texas. You guys, just let's say a prayer for Dolly. All right. I'm going to put this up. We'll say a prayer. I know that it's hard for a lot of people. I get it. At the beginning of the show, we said a prayer, and she frankly lived a life that none of us probably can imagine at 80 years old. All right. She died at 80 years old. It was a cancer, a small, brief cancer situation that they said she was in the hospital for, and then she passed. All right. Hey, Dave. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Probably. I think that she had some kind of eating disorder too, because when you see her, a lot of people talked about this prior to, they said that she didn't eat much. She was kind of on this regimen, what cheerleaders and beauty queens do, right? So I'm imagining she also didn't gain a lot of weight with the baby.
And be able to say the things to the court to satisfy the elements.
It's hard to understand, and I don't know if we ever will, having covered this case, like why all of this happened and some of the decisions that she made after giving birth. And then even it seems that she kind of hid this pregnancy from people around her. Like, why did she do that? Today, she said something along the lines that she was under, intense emotional pressure, at the time. How did she come off to you?
Listen,
like, what did you see when you watched Laken Snelling in court today?
She was very sad. I think this has become very real for her. It's, these cases are interesting. She's young, first of all. She's 22 years old now. This case has been going
It
on
was
for a little
cancer.
bit. She's outlined that she was under, this emotional distress. It's probably not enough to be helpful. And I say that in terms of having a mental health diagnosis that would be able to lower this down to a lower level crime based on a diminished capacity. But she was broke down and was sad. And these cases are interesting. And watching her today, I've seen people go through this. It gets real fast when they have to get up there and say it in court. It's one thing, something bad happens or they do something bad, and a lot of people panic and do things to cover it up. I don't think that that's uncommon, and we see that a lot in the criminal world. But today it seemed very real to her that she was understanding
And-
at least what she did, and
Come on.
she was pretty upset about it. I mean, she broke down in tears. I don't think that those were forced tears. Now, whether she's sad about what happened,
I think she's more sad for herself. Now you gotta take in mind that Sky Lazaro is a defense attorney, so of course she's going to say this, right? And a lot of people are talking about that, Lil Red, about Dolly Parton's husband dying of nearly 60 years a year ago, and now her passing away. Also, I mean, I'm looking at an article. That's why I even said Dolly Parton. The header says Dolly Parton died after a brief battle with cancer. Her team confirms. Now that just came out today at 7:30 p.m. and they say the People magazine did confirm with Dolly's team that her cause of death was her cancer struggles that ultimately took her life. So that's what they're saying. They're saying her health struggles just days before her death and the cancer, that's what got her. So we don't really, I mean, it says Dolly Parton died after being diagnosed with cancer. So we'll see as it comes out more and more. But right now it's literally, they don't tell us what kind of cancer, and they just say it was a brief battle. But I imagine there are other factors in it. All right. But may she rest in peace. All right. 80 years. 80 good years. I know. All right. Now you guys.
she's sad about going to prison remains to be seen, but she clearly was emotional today.
Yeah, and it just, there's kind of this, because I was wondering, is, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, as she was kind of answering these questions from the judge, and this was before the judge turns to the Commonwealth's attorney and says, what are you recommending? And then when you heard like 10 years in prison and you realize that that's the mandatory minimum, it was this moment of like, she is going to do some pretty serious prison time. How do you, because I mean, for her attorneys to get to the point where they say, we're not going to take this to trial. This is probably the best bet at this point. And it did seem like there was some pretty strong evidence against her in this case. Like, how do you deliver that news to your client where there's this realization of like, especially at 22 years old, you think of what life would be like at 32. I mean, 32, I mean, I'm far older than it now. Like I thought 32 was old when I was 22 years old. Right. And like the idea that she's going to go to prison potentially for that, if not longer, with the other charges, like what are those conversations like between an attorney and a client?
They're hard. And that's why it takes a lot of trust. And it takes building a really good relationship with your client in cases like this. These cases.
Now, look, guys, the defense attorneys probably told her, listen, and Lil Red, you're right. You shock probation and she'll serve some prison time, probably not much, and she'll get released on probation if the judge approves it. But even to take that further, she might not even get any time in prison. It may be some kind of house arrest with probation, or you got to serve 100 days. I'm just telling you right now, that this is what they do when they're making a deal like this. They know that she's facing 13 years if she does a trial. If she doesn't take a trial and the judge sympathizes with her at all, she's going to be out real quick. All right. The courts don't put women in prison no, they don't. But I don't think that she's going to get the time that we thought she should. None of these girls that have had babies thus far in the recent history of us covering the cases has gotten any real time, guys. And they're always allowed out on bond. Look at Alexi Treviso. She's out finishing college.
Cases they're tragic, they're heartbreaking. They're difficult from every level. You don't want to go to trial on it because there could be stuff out there that if the judge hears, she's going to get maxed out. There's cases where you just have to take responsibility, and everybody starts from, especially if they've never been in trouble. I don't want a felony and I don't want to go to jail. I mean, that's great. Nobody does, right? So to work with somebody to get them to a place of accepting responsibility and accepting the fact that they are going to go to prison or go to jail or whatever it is for a long period of time. I mean, she's going to be probably in her 30s by the time she's paroled, and life is going to be very different. She was a cheerleader.
Yep.
She had all of this life in front of her, and it's taken a different path that's she's going to have to wrap her mind around, and those discussions are hard.
And she has a full lifetime to still continue to have more children. She'll go to cheerleader spot. And that's the thing. Is you're right. It's probably going to be some easy time. She's going to get out, and she still has an entire life to have more children and to get married, etc. All right. Treviso is seriously stupid. I can't imagine she's in college. Well, she is. They refused parole to the skank with good reason. Susan Smith. Yeah, Susan Smith is terrible. All right, guys, do me a favor. We still have 125 people in chat. Hit the like button. Help with the goal if you can. Get a membership, gift a membership, all that fun stuff as we wrap this up. All right, we got a little bit longer. We've been here for an hour and 36 minutes. We're also going to Turtle Island tonight, guys. And I think, and I'm glad you're here, Mab, too, because we're strategizing tonight on Turtle Island. All right, it's kick. All right, none of this nice guy channel stuff. Nice channel. We're gonna kick somebody tonight on Turtle Island, or we're gonna get kicked. Either way, all right. Kick. Right, Mab? Right. We're gonna kick the other J, because I'm tired of being called the other J. Right? It's all strategy. Come on, this is a huge delay right now. I don't know why. I'm making it happen, but I'm glad it's not a different case because it's really delayed.
Very, very difficult. And sometimes people never really get to a place where it's not real until they put the cuffs on them.
Right.
It's just, but they're hard conversations, and
yes,
they're necessary conversations. And I think if you're not having them with your client, you're doing them a disservice. You can't just lie to people and tell them what they want to hear and tell them there's no way they're going to prison ever. And that the shock of that is almost worse. They need to prepare with their families. They need to prepare mentally for what that's going to be like. And for someone as young as her, it's not going to be easy. I mean, there's no way that
I'm having a delay, so it's hard for me to answer stuff, Mystic. Turtle Island's a fantasy show that's on Dolly Vision. This is our third season there. Right? If we don't win this season, I think we're gonna just bow out, right? Because it's a lot. So Turtle Island's on tonight after we get off of here at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Guilty of Crime is on this fantasy island, and we're trying to get us a win. All right. Oh my goodness, Central Cali, Chris, you're right. Every time so far. And she's not even on there. I simply I'm tired of being trash talked. And so that's it. Thank you. Yes, 110%, Gianna, for the last 2 weeks. And trust me, I don't even want to hear about this stuff. I'm getting text messages, emails, and anywhere y'all can find me, I'm getting these clips of people just trashing my ass, trashing me, and it's not even real. The stuff I'm being trashed about didn't even happen. All right. But I'm not going to sit there. I'm not a trauma channel. I'm not going to correct the stuff. But I am going to say, let's kick the other J because I'm not going to be the other J anymore. All right. Don't call in till, yep, we're going to try to do that. We're going to have some strategy tonight. I don't want to be called the other J, and Gianna knows why. Thank you, Gianna, also for being cool, being chill. Don't let anybody get your don't let anyone take away your happiness. All right. I think she had a typical cheer. I agree. I think the parents absolutely were like, hey, you're getting too fat for this, or hey, you need to do this, but that is still no excuse. I don't care. And the parents are paying for it with their money. They're paying these lawyers now. Maybe they should have done something different. But you can't blame the parents, though, regardless. She's a grown-ass woman.
It's going to be easy for her. She comes from a very different world than most of the people she's going to meet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and she's also been out, on bond as this entire process has been going on. Like after the grand jury indicted her, and that came down in March. I think she posted $100,000 bond, and she's been living with family in Tennessee. And then, post October 16th, life is going to look so differently. As we look ahead to that sentencing hearing, I've seen cases where there was a stalking case out of Ohio, and I just remember a very different case. Like the girl was going to not get any sort of prison time whatsoever, really boofed it when it came to the time for her to make a statement in front of the judge. Judge did not buy it. And then she was headed off to prison, I think for a short period of time. But you can see things, you probably feel like you have a good situation in place for your client and the game plan is all right. But then if something doesn't go well when they're making their statement to the judge or the way that they interact in the courtroom that day, things can change. What goes into if she decides to make a statement?
But you do, Lil Red. You do. You don't even have to watch it to know who the other J is. All right. It's going to be a Dolly Uncensored. Okay. We're going to drop a link, but in chat, Lil Red, look in chat. All right. Who that is. You know who the other J is. Trust me. It's the other person on YouTube that loves to trash people and talk shit. All right. Mab is the reigning king of Turtle Island. He won last season. We want to get this season. All right. And I will drop a link. She's a baby killer. Agreed. And she's going to have to live with this as well.
At the sentencing hearing, and we saw that emotion today in the courtroom. Like, what goes into actually writing that beyond just saying, I'm sorry about what happened?
Yeah, you got to be very careful when you write these, like what you were talking about. I've had to go both ways. I've had people talk themselves into prison when we had agreements otherwise, and I put together this great sentencing memorandum about how great they were, and then they get up and completely it just falls apart.
That has to be a tough day.
Yeah, it's awful.
I mean, for them,
right?
but for you as well as the defense attorney. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. I never want anybody to go to prison either. And I've had people give very, very moving personal statements to judges. And I've had judges say to them, look, when you walked in here today, I had my mind made up that I was going to send you to prison, and I'm not going to. I'm going to give you a chance. And so, I've had it go that way too. And you're grateful for those days. But really what these statements come down to, and some people, you have the right to be heard. There are some people that I recommend we're not going to say anything. We're just going to rest on my arguments, the joint recommend, especially where there's a joint recommendation, and it's a reasonable recommendation. I think this is a reasonable recommendation for her. She's young. She doesn't have any criminal history. The judge isn't aware of any, major aggravating factors in this, unless AP&P highlights something that would, garner sending her to prison longer. So there's people that you just say, hey, look, you have the right to be heard. You don't have to say anything. You can decline, and that's okay. Because some people just don't speak well in those situations. I mean, that's a reality. Even when you help them write it, they just don't, But really what needs to go into this is this can't be, you have to stay so far away from anything that sounds like,
I'm sorry. It's not letting me pause it. And listen, Wilma, we're safe tonight unless otherwise stated. We've got the immunity this week on Turtle Island, and there's the link. That's Dolly Vision Uncensored. All right. Bye, Melissa. We'll see you later. All right. Dolly Uncensored is where it's going to be. We don't want you guys to vote for guilty of crime. We want to kick our biggest competitor tonight. Okay, so I already have immunity unless somebody gets lucky again the third week in a row. Then we are literally we're safe tonight. So we need to kick. We need to kick people, and kick people. Yes, Gianna, yes. And hashtag arrest Jen fucking Soto. Ugh. Yeah, unless someone gets the strip immunity card, they're promoting her image. Where's the jumpsuit? Wait, who? Who we talking about? All right, let's continue. I have a huge
because now I'm got
lag.
caught and I'm going to prison. And you've got to dig deep. And if you're going to say something, you've really got to be genuine to the judge about how you understand how terrible this was, how terrible of an act this was, and how you live every day wishing you could do it over and wish you had your baby and things like that. It can't be really about her. It's got to be about the baby, and
it was about her,
about what she's learned through this process and some things like that. But
it was about her.
Be careful not to dive into, I'm sorry I got caught.
Right. No, and that's, kind of the interesting part of it, because like being sorry can go a couple different directions. It's sorry that it happened, and then sorry that, life is going to look so differently. And when you look at this case, and sadly, it's not the only case like this we've seen. I mean, this one's getting a lot of attention, but unfortunately, we've seen a lot of similar cases like this before. The way that this played out, and you have those lesser charges, and I think there's 3 lesser charges, and we'll see if those are concurrently, run or how that plays out. But for her to come away from this potentially serving 10 to 13 years as opposed to what could be more than 20. And then of course there was the maybe a jury could have, in the 1% chance that a jury maybe saw that she was not guilty. I don't know if that would have been possible with some of the evidence that's been laid out.
Oh, I think so. I think they'd have had a couple of people that sympathized with her, and that's why the prosecutor said, let's do this. Right? Yes. Okay, so Gianna's correct. You want to vote people off tonight. You don't want to call and save me because I've already got immunity. You want to call, and we want to kick off the competition tonight. All right? Jen's guilty as hell. Heck, she needs prison. Here's the problem with a case like that, though, right? We're talking about Jen Soto being guilty. No one wants to touch that case because we've got these YouTube creators that are ready to crucify you just for saying the name. So imagine anybody that wants to cover the Jen Soto case doesn't want to. It's kind of like the Sebastian case. Somebody asked me about Sebastian Rogers and if I was going to cover the stuff that's happening. And frankly, I just don't want to. I don't want to get into the mix of all this shitstorm. So it makes you not want to cover these victims' cases because of it. And it's sad. It sucks. All right. Oh, Melanie Federline. Jeez. We got all kinds of cases up in here. Yes. 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 There you go. Come on, chat. Read her comments. They all watch my stream and then they clown on me later. So they're going to see what they're going to see anyway. Everybody, they talk shit every day. Let them. Fuck it. All right. If I can press play.
What do you make of the outcome here for her defense team and whether this was a good job?
Yes. Mab is fine.
That's always hard for us because we don't see everything. We don't know what they know. These were privately retained attorneys. I think they're well-respected attorneys if this were a case. And there's a lot of things that go into having a trial and deciding whether or not to go to trial or take a deal with your client. Sometimes clients just don't want to do it. Sometimes they get to a point where they're like, just give me the best deal. I can't do that. I can't do that to my family. I can't do that to alleged victims, whatever it is. But they've gotten her to a place. These are hard cases. These are prison cases. And that's what's so awful about them because, and these are so hard on you as a defense attorney because she's a young girl. She's basically a kid herself, but she did something really terrible. And, there's a part of you that it seems like prison is overly harsh. But whenever you've got a child that's severely harmed or a case like this,
she's not gonna.
There really seemed to be some depravity to it.
100%.
That they are prison cases. I'm somewhat surprised that they let her out. I
I'm
guess I'm
waiting.
not given her age on bond. It depends what state you're in. But I could
Yes.
see, you know, in
Vote
a
off.
state like Utah,
All
there's a
in.
very good possibility
Kick.
she would have been held without bail.
Right. And I mean, it's
No.
there's people, you know, it's always interesting in some cases because we'll have, I mean, there's murder defendants that are out there, you know,
Right.
currently out on bond. And then there's, you know, other cases where it might be an armed robbery suspect. Not that that's great either, but, you know, where that person is
What?
held up, you know, they'll be in custody for a long time until trial. We'll see what happens next. October 16th is when Laken Snelling is going to be sentenced. Sky Lazaro, criminal defense attorney. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with us.
Great.
Awesome. All right, guys. So almost 2 hours here. We've got Laken Snelling. She pled guilty today. The crying cheerleader pleads guilty in her newborn's death. How many years is she gonna get? Well, she's facing up to 13. But in my honest opinion, when October comes around, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think she's gonna get much time at all. All right. But let's pull this off the screen so we're not talking about the case. I can give you a quick Turtle Island lesson and then we'll go. All right, Indy Isham, let's put this up there. Let me show you guys were you on did you watch the last episode? Were you last week? Were you in the last week episode? Drama BS. Oh yeah, the drama BS is BS. And since we're on Turtle Island anyway, then we might as well make it count. All right. Today we have immunity. And if you watched it, you know the last 2 weeks, our number one contender that's going against me, it's J4. Yeah, that's it right there. I don't even want to say that name. It's like saying Beetlejuice. All right. That's been our number one competition right here. And just I've been getting trashed, guys. I've been getting trashed on these YouTube streets for the last 2 weeks. There's Turtle Island. All right. So we're not gonna vote for guilty of crime because we have immunity tonight. We're gonna vote off somebody. We're gonna vote somebody off. You guys vote whoever you want off, but the biggest competitor at this point is from the last 2 weeks, and they got saved. So this is it, guys. This is Dolly Vision Uncensored. All right. I don't know why they don't have it up yet. I just don't understand why they don't have the Turtle Island season 7 next episode. But if you go to that link and you click on this, there's Turtle Island, guys. All right. Let me see.
Welcome back to
What is up, my beautiful people, and welcome
That's it
back
right there.
to the greatest fantasy
know.
show on YouTube, Turtle Island, Season 7, where we put 35 creators on the back of this imaginary turtle named Hector, and we vote them off one by one until there's one last person standing, and that person is crowned Turtle Island Season 7 Grand Champion of the World. Okay? Now, here is how the game is played. In case you live in a cave and you never watch.
Now, listen, this is the third time I've gone on here, and it's not because I was seeking anybody out, okay? But I am a good sport, and I'm going to play. Although I think this may be the last year, because I agree. A lot of people are like, I agree. Absolutely. I got drug into this bullshit. And you know what? In all honesty, guys, my subscriber count has gone up. So as much shit as people are talking about me, people are subscribing. All right. So that's why I just want to have a good time. We want to play. We want to kick off. We want to kick. There you go. Right there. It's like saying Beetlejuice. You don't want to say it too many times. All right. So that's what we're doing tonight. If you guys support Guilty of Crime and you want us to win, then go over there and kick someone off. Last season, I was going to get the, you are kicking. Yes. Last season, I said, if we win, all donations are going to, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I don't even know what that means, how much it is, but we will absolutely all be winners together if we win. Okay. So, we win. I don't know exactly. I know there's a belt and then there's some kind of compensation, which I'm so down to donate and buy merch for y'all. I just don't know. All right. Not going to cover what? Wait, what? Gianna, the trailer park. Oh, yeah. It's trailer park versus not the trailer park. I am not a trailer park girl at all. All right. And we're going to call that guilty of crime versus the trailer park girls. They all don't like you, girl J. And that's okay. All right. That's okay. It's all right. Nope. They don't have to like me. They don't. Yes. Call in and kick. Call in and kick. Yeah, a belt, a wrestling belt, like boxing. Happy Cappy. Love you guys. All right. So the Turtle Island starts in an hour. All right. We're guilty of crime, but against a bunch of old biddies. Yes. Trailer Park versus Silicon Valley. Who's gonna win? Nolan Wells won't get a retrial. What do you mean, Nolan Wells? Oh my God, Midnight Lays, girl. I've called twice for you, but I don't know what I'm doing. You know what you're doing, Indy. You're fine. Tonight's kick, and kick. All right? Love you guys. Thank you guys. Go get something to eat. Chill out. Relax. Please don't go on Turtle Island and be stressed out. If Turtle Island's going to give y'all anxiety or it's going to make you upset that people are talking trash on me, just don't do it, y'all. Don't go there. All right? None of your inner peace is worth this BS. And I'm going to hang in as long as I can. Once I start getting mad shit talk, I might have to step back. But guys, we've got this. Love you. I'll see you in about an hour. Good night. I'll see you in chat. Turtle Island Season 7. Let's win. All right, guys. Good night. I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. There you go. There it is, guys. Right up there. If you're going to vote to call someone off, you want to kick. All right? I'm not going to say Beetlejuice's name again because it is about same thing. Same thing. All right? Stay classy. Hashtag stay jaded AF. Stay jaded. All right. Good night, guys. Love you all. Stay jaded. And we'll see you soon.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?